Hi guys, it's coming from the Mighty Blues. Welcome back today to another live stream. Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, another live stream, a weekend without Premier League football. Last weekend Everton did not play, of course. It is the international break. England played on Friday night and play again tonight. Now, I originally was meant to be streaming on Friday at 6:15. I did actually start the stream. I don't know if a few of you guys were in there watching, and after about 15-20 minutes the internet just dropped and it went off and then it wouldn't come back on. The internet was having absolutely none of it, so I just want to apologise for anybody that was watching or wondering where the stream was on Friday. It was literally out of my control. I was trying to get it back up and running for about half an hour afterwards, but the internet was just having none of it. So we're going to discuss the topic that we were going to discuss on Friday in today's team. We're going to be talking about the summer transfer window, and more specifically why I believe this summer transfer window is one of the more important ones in recent times, both for Marco Silva and Marcel Brands. Massively for Marcel Brands, in my opinion. This is where he earns his money for me. This is where he earns his wage. He has to go out and he has to identify the players that we need to bring in to improve our squad. I'm talking a striker, I'm talking possibly a right back, maybe a central midfielder if it's Isagana Gay leaves, maybe a centre back, because you know it's going to be really difficult to sign Kurt Zuma on a permanent deal because of Chelsea's transfer ban. So it's really important that we take a look at this transfer window and that we speak about, you know, what we want as fans, what do we want to be seeing, what do we want to be looking at when we're going into the first game of next season. Let me just tweet this email to everybody on Twitter knows that we are live. Hopefully this one stays up and running. The internet seems to have been okay over the weekend. I thought I'd leave it for the weekend to you know, just to see how it went, and it hasn't dropped once, so hopefully it's okay to handle the stream tonight. So yeah, like I said, we're going to be talking about the summer transfer window. We're also going to be talking about some transfer rumours. As you can see in the little news box just to the right of me, there's been a transfer rumour that has come to light in the last couple of hours, and it is linking Lille forward Rafael Leo to a move to Everton. Apparently Everton are interested in him and discussing the availability of the player with a view to potentially signing him in the summer. Of course, we're going to be speaking about transfer rumours in general themselves, really, because for me, this sort of international break, this period, you know, just at the end of March, beginning of April, this international break is sort of the break where you start to see the transfer rumours come to life, and the transfer rumours that you start to see during this international break are the ones that generally have got a little bit of beef to them. Now, I'm not saying whatsoever that every transfer rumour you see between now and sort of the end of the international break, you know, that they're spot on, they're going to happen, that's nailed on. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is the transfer rumours that you're seeing now, it's likely they're going to have a little bit more meat to them than the ones that you were seeing in sort of December time and November time. You know, teams will now be looking at trying to put players in the shop window if they've got no future at the clubs. You know, teams will be looking at saying, okay, let's evaluate who we've got at the club during this international break. X, Y and Z aren't going to be part of our squad next season, so let's try and, you know, get it out to the media. Let's try and put them in the shop window and see if anybody is coming into buying. You know, same way goes the other way as well. Teams will be out there looking for players during this period of time because it's the last international break, I believe, before the end of the season, I think, or definitely one of the last international breaks before the end of the season. And it's a time where, you know, management and directors of football and people involved in the board of the clubs can sit back and go, okay, what do we need going forward for next season? How do we plan for next season? And that's why I really wanted to make today's stream to talk about the summer transfer window, because for me, listen, the summer transfer window, every season, is massively important. Obviously, we brought 6 players in last summer, bringing Luca Dean in from Barcelona, Andre Gomez, Kurt Zuma, Richarlison, Bernard, and who was the other one? I've lost track. Luca Dean, Andre Gomez, Bernard, Yerry Mina, of course. How could we forget about Yerry Mina? So it was a massive transfer window last summer, and, you know, arguably one of our better ones in recent years. When you look at the players we've brought in, Richarlison, joint top goal scorer on 12 goals, been absolutely fantastic in front of goal for us. Luca Dean, many people saying he's been our player of the year. You've got Andre Gomez, who, you know, started off really well, tailed off a little bit, but still an absolutely fantastic footballer. Yerry Mina, who hasn't quite got it going yet, but we can see the potential. Kurt Zuma, who's been absolutely solid, and Bernard, who's probably technically our best player and has come in and has been absolutely fantastic in the games that he's played. So, you know, a pretty decent first transfer window for Marco Silva and Marcel Brands, but we're still a far we're still very, very far, away from, you know, getting into the top 4 or even breaking into the top 6 at the minute. You know, there's a clear gap between Everton and the teams that are above us. There's a clear gap between Everton and those top 6 sides, and if we want to be, you know, if we want to be breaking into that, if our ambition is to be challenging for the top 4, if our ambition is to be playing in the Champions League and maybe challenging for league titles, as Denise Barrett-Baxendale has stated, then we need to be looking to improve our squad massively to be able to get to that stage. And that's, for me, why this is a really, really important transfer window. Look, you know, Marcel Brands, I've got complete faith in Marcel Brands, and I know he's a massive, massive fan favourite. A lot of us love Marcel Brands. I'm sure you guys watching love him as well. But for me, this is where he makes his money now in this summer. We've had the really, really good first transfer window. We understood that, you know, he come out and he said probably not going to do much business in January because I don't really like the January transfer window. We sat back and we said fair enough. So now for me, this is where he makes his money now. This is where he makes his cash, and it's not just on bringing players in that can improve the squad. It's also about getting rid of some players that, you know, don't really have a future at Everton. I'm talking the likes of Kevin Morales, who are going to come back. I know the likes of Ashley Williams' contract runs out anyway. Nikola Vlasic mightn't have a future at Everton. Mohamed Besic mightn't have a future at Everton. Yannick Bolasie as well. There's a specific set of players there that it's going to be quite difficult to shift, that are on really, really massive wages. Sandro Ramirez, £125,000 a week, and it's quite clear that he's nowhere near good enough to get in this team, and it's going to be a real task to, you know, ship him on to a club that will pay anywhere near that amount for, you know, for him to be able to say as a player, yes, I want to go there. So, you know, that's equally a massive job for Marcel Brands and Silva, as well as bringing players in. Of course, like I mentioned earlier on in this team, you know, it's quite clear that we need a striker. I mean, I love Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I really do, and I think he's a fantastic footballer, and I think he's got all the potential in the world, but I just don't think he's quite ready yet. He can be ready, and I would like to see him play next to a striker that is ready to improve his game, but I don't think he's ready enough to lead the line for us for the whole season next season. I think everybody understands that we need a striker, maybe even a right back, who knows. You know, speaking on Toffee TV last week about, you know, the right back situation, about the fact that Seamus Coleman is only looking like, you know, with age he's not getting any better. John Joe Kenny doesn't really seem like stepping up to the mark at the minute, so, you know, really the fate is on if Mason Holgate comes back from his loan from West Bromwich Albion, and whether Marco Silva, you know, says okay, we're going to give him the opportunity. If not, then we need to be bringing in a right back as well. Central midfield is a massive one for me. Obviously, you know, Andre Gomez is only a loan deal at the minute. There's been a lot of talk about that move being made permanent. Andre Gomez has apparently come out himself and said, listen, I'm really enjoying football at Everton and I want to join on a permanent, but like I said, that is all just rumoured at the minute, and as far as we're concerned at this moment in time, Andre Gomez will be going back to Barcelona in the summer, as will Kurt Zouma be going back to Chelsea. So at the minute, you know, we're looking at a midfield where we might be losing Andre Gomez, and then you've got Idrissa Gana Gueye on the other hand, who very openly wanted to leave the football club in January, and again in the summer may come out and say, listen, I'm going to look for a move away now. So we may need 1 or 2 central midfielders in there as well, a centre back if we can't force the signing of Kurt Zouma through, you know, maybe even a right winger as well. Theo Walcott hasn't had a fantastic season whatsoever. A lot of fans have been getting on his back. He hasn't looked like he's been up to the plate. So we're looking at, you know, 5 or 6 players already there that we need to bring in just to strengthen the squad. Listen, for me, I think I'm not going to go into players in particular. I'm not going to go into specific players. Everybody knows would love Wan-Bissaka as a right back, would love Timo Werner up front, you know, would love to bring Doucouré in central midfield, but, you know, these players are just players that, you know, ideally you look at and you go, okay, they'd be brilliant in our football club. In terms of, obviously, I'd rather talk specifically about positions, and I think that's what Marcel Brands will be doing. Listen, don't be surprised if, you know, the first game of the season we're lining up and there's 3 or 4 players in there that you've never heard of, and equally don't be surprised if after 10 games you go, Jesus Christ, they're absolutely fantastic. I'd never put Luca Dean, you know, in an Everton shirt before we signed him. Of course I'd heard of him and he knew he was a really good left back, but I would never have put him as an Everton player. He's come in and he's took the spot of Leighton Baines absolutely fantastically, and he's been unbelievable. Bernard as well, would never put him in an Everton shirt. He's come in and okay, his fitness might be a little bit off and he might have adjusted to the league quite as what we would have wanted to him, yeah, but you can see the quality he's got on the ball, you can see how calm he is, you can see how good his touch is, you can see that he can easily breeze past players. Richarlison coming in for, you know, quite a big fee after having a pretty disappointing second half to his last season with Watford, come in and he scored 12 goals and he's absolutely ripped it up. So, you know, so far you can't really fault Marco Silva and Marcel Brands for their signings, but we need to go that extra step further now. What we've got now isn't good enough, so that's why it's a really, really big summer for both Brands and Silva, because Brands is going to have to put his money where his mouth is and make his money, and Silva's got to be there making sure that the players that are coming in are going to be able to fit into the squad. You know, with how many summers have we had in recent years? I'm talking the Ronald Koeman season, where we signed Gylfi Sigurdsson for 50 million, we signed Davy Klaassen, we signed all these players, and they just never worked in a system. Davy Klaassen ended up leaving. Gylfi Sigurdsson, you know, struggled at first because he wasn't fitting into the system. We spent a load of money on a load of players that were just individually the best players at their club, rather than players that could come in and play as part of a system. And I've got absolutely no problem if we sign 3 or 4 players in the summer that we haven't really heard of, but they fit into our system perfectly and they're exactly what we need. A goalkeeper's another one that's been spoken about. Do we need a second goalkeeper to come in and maybe give Jordan Pickford a little bit of a kick up the arse? Let me know in the live comments if you are watching it, and if you're watching it as a YouTube video, let me know down there as well. EFC 1878 says, what do you think about the links with Ante Rebic and Shea Adams? Listen, 2 good players that, you know, I don't necessarily know if they'd fit into the way we play. I know Rebic's a really, really good player, and I don't know whether they'd fit into this league as well. But, you know, 2 good players, and I suppose we'll have to see what Marcel Brands thinks, and we'll have to see who Marcel Brands is looking at. And I'm sure that, you know, like I said, the rumours of who we're looking at will start to come out in the next couple of weeks and months. Matthew says, you were brilliant on Toffee TV, Cam. Thank you very much, Matthew. Thank you very much for that. That guy says, do you think we can beat West Ham on the weekend? I do. I really, really do. Whether we will or not is a different question. We can certainly beat them, but we're going to have to be at the top of our game. We're going to have to perform like we did in the second half against Chelsea, rather than how we started that game. Mitchell says, how much realistically, Cam, in terms of players to spend? Listen, I think we still need a good 200 million to really get to a point where we can say, okay, we're now at the point where we're good enough to challenge a top 6 side, we're good enough to potentially break into that top 6. I think, you know, in this day and age, you don't sign good players individually for less than like £30 million. If you're signing a player for less than £30 million, the odds are you've either done one of 2 things. You've signed a player that's not, you know, at the level we need him to be, or you've got an absolute bargain. So let's hope that Marcel Brands can do the latter and bring in players that don't cost as much money, but are absolutely fantastic. I mean, he's pretty much done it already. Bernard's come in on a free. I know he's got massive wages, but that is what it is. Luca Dean, £12 million. Okay, you can look at Richarlison and Yerry Mina and so, but there's 2 there, Luca Dean and Bernard, who have cost £12 million combined, and on that left hand side in the last couple of weeks have looked absolutely fantastic. David says, players need to leave on permanence before we can move for others. Yes, 100%, I agree with that one. EFC 1878 says, I know we've been mostly shite since the first derby, but Silva's signings and Michael Keane have been our best players since then, so that shows how good Silva's judgment is. I do agree with that one. Hazrat says, good live talk, Cam, thank you very much. He also says, need another good result on Saturday, up the F and Toffees. Yes, we of course do. We need a 3 points, and if we can get a 3 points, it will be a massive 3 points. I know it's only West Ham, and we joke that, you know, they're a small club and this and that the other, but it will be a massive win if we could get 3 points over there on Saturday. EFC 1878 has some comments that Walcott's been getting it absolutely disgusting. He's aging, he's not great anymore, get over it. I agree, and I wanted to bring that up. Listen, I'm a big believer in everybody has an opinion and everybody, you know, is equal to their say, but I agree 100%. I think some of the comments that have been said about Theo Walcott in the last few weeks and months, and I tend to ignore a lot of them, and I'm sure Theo does himself, but they've been absolutely disgusting. And I'll say, okay, everybody's allowed an opinion, but some of the stuff is just pure vile, and there's absolutely no need for it at all. Like you've said, he's a player there that is massively void of confidence for a start. You can see it oozing out of him, you know, the lack of confidence the lad's got. Like you've said, he's aging there, and he's probably not going to get any better. He come in at the end of last season, and he had a fantastic last couple of months of the season for us, and he hasn't quite got it in running this season. And what? Do you know what I mean? We go out in the summer and we sign someone that's better than him, and he can become a bench option. There's absolutely no need for some of the comments that have been said about him. Anyway, that's just my opinion on those. David says, Zuma won't happen as we don't have a right to buy clause, and Chelsea can't engage in any transactions away from those clauses. That in and out. There you go. So we'll need to be looking at another centre half as well in the summer. Matthew says, our squad was better when we didn't have a pod to piss in with Moyes, Kyle, Ozzy and Tony Hibbert. Spunk so much money in the past few years. Big summer ahead. Exactly. And the players that you've just named there are players that, you know, didn't necessarily cost an awful lot. In fact, didn't cost much at all, but they come with heart, they come with fight, they come with passion. Tim Cahill, still to this day, tweeting about Everton Football Club, still to this day, a massive supporter of Everton Football Club, as is Leon Osman. Leon Osman was told off when he first went into punditry after he retired for constantly referring to Everton as us. David Moyes recently referred to Everton as us before the Merseyside derby. These are players that were bled blue. These were players that give their all week in, week out, and a manager that give his all week in, week out for our football club. That was when we had the real underdog status, when we knew that, okay, we mightn't be as good as the team that we're about to face, but we're going to make it bloody hard for them. And in certain games, when you make it bloody hard for teams, even if they're, 10 times as good as you can nick a result from that one. And we need to get that back. For me, we need to get that level of angerness, if you like, and that sort of attitude we had under Moyes, where we're going to come out and we're just going to, play it off the park. We're gonna prove that we mightn't be the best, we mightn't have the best players, but we've got the heart and we've got the passion, and that'll take us through, and that'll win us them games that you might struggle in naturally. But like you said, 100%, it did seem a lot better in those days. I was watching a flashback video today, the Premier League it was, tweeted it out, and it was from the 2013-14 season, the really, really good season when we nearly finished in the Champions League with Martinez, and it was the game where we beat Newcastle 3-0 at St James's Park, and Ross Barkley scored that absolute worldie from running from his own half and then smashing it in, and Lukaku scored, and I was watching just going, those are the times where at that time as an Evertonian you were watching going, yeah, good goal that by Ross, great goal, and fantastic finish by Rom, and you don't realise how much you miss that clinicalness in front of goal. Certainly the Lukaku goal, I was watching it now going, if only we had someone that could do that week in, week out consistently for us now, would be laughing really. But yeah, 100%, I agree with you with that one. A massive somewhere ahead. The FC 1878 says the problem with Koeman 17-18 debacle was that he looked for a system that would fit his now signings other than players to fit a system, and it went horribly. 100% exactly spot on with that one, I agree. David says if we could chip 13/14 out and get 50/60 million back in plus 600k in wages, then it'll be happy days. It'll be massively happy days if we can do that one. And David says, is the abuse on Twitter by any chance? Yes, it is, of course. Where else would it be? If you're enjoying this team so far, please do leave a like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Of course, nearly have 450 subscribers now, which is absolutely massive, so thank you all very much for that one. But yeah, like I said, a really big summer ahead for Everton, a massive summer for Marcel Brands, because look, I've been one of these fans that, it's fantastic seeing Marcel Brands in a bloody service station halfway down the M62 when you're playing someone away on a Sunday and you can see him in the Burger King. It's great to see he's got that sort of connection with the fans. It's fantastic to see that, he's on the board now and he seems to know what he's doing. But for me, now is where he puts his money where his mouth is. And I've always said, and I've said this for months and months, and you can go back to streams, I've said, although I don't agree with a lot of the decisions Marco Silva makes, and although I'm not completely sold on Marco Silva, I want to see how we look at the start of next season when we've had two full, proper summer transfer windows, and let's disregard the January transfer window because that was never going to be of any significance anyway, because Marcel Brands come out right at the start and said we ain't going to do any business because I don't believe in business in January. So let's see how we line up at the start of next season. Let's see how different our team looks like from the one that ends this season, because we know what we need now. We know we need potentially a right back. We know we definitely need a striker. We know we definitely need a central midfielder, even if that's Andre Gomez on a permanent, that's a signing. We know we definitely need a centre back. We probably need a right winger as well. We may even need a backup goalkeeper. We know what we need, and Marcel Brands knows what we need. So let's see how we line up going into next season. And if we're still in the same situation in October time and we're still, spilling defeats when you're 2-0 up against Newcastle with 20 minutes to go, and we're still not really challenging the top sides away from home, then you can look and go, okay, something's not going right here. But for me, we have to look at the summer now, and we just have to be excited. We had a massive win against Chelsea last week, a really big win, and we faced West Ham United on Saturday, and again, a game that's going to be really tough. But if we go out and we play how we did in the second half against Chelsea, then we can get the 3 points against West Ham, and then we come back and we play Arsenal at home the week after, and again, that's a game that if we play like we did in the second half against Chelsea, we can beat Arsenal as well. We really can. So, but that's the key word, playing like we did in the second half against Chelsea, and I'll flip it now and I'll go back. If we play like we did in the first half against Chelsea, we'll be beaten on Saturday by West Ham, and if we play like we did in the first half against Chelsea, we'll be beaten by Arsenal as well. So there's that fine line there. Marco Silva come out obviously at the end of the Chelsea game and said they told the lads to play how we've been, you know, playing insane in the second half, and they done it and we won the game. So now you need to tell the lads before the first, you know, kick of the ball, play how we've been playing insane, and we need to go out and we need to win on Saturday, and we need to go out and we need to win next week. That, you know, listen, at the end of the day, there's not much left in this season. Yes, we could get 7th, and we'll talk about the Europa League in just a second. And yes, you know, we could finish in a position that ideally we'd have all been happy with at the start of the season. But at the end of the day, we just need to, you know, ride out these last few games, get as many points on the board as we can, and go again in the summer. And I'm really, really excited for the summer. We've shown on last Saturday how, you know, how good we can be when we're at our, you know, when we're at our best in the second half of that game. We can beat top 6 sides. In fact, we obliterated Chelsea in the second half. They had the better of us in the first half, and we absolutely turned them over like a pancake, stuck Nutella on them, little bit of sugar, bit of bloody, you know, a cherry on top, absolutely ruined them in the second half of that game. So we need to now go out, and that's what's got me excited. And I'm not overly excited. I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm not saying, right, that's it now, we're good enough to beat the top 6 side, we're going to get in the top 6 next season, nailed on. But I'm saying that's what we can do. That's the performance that these players can put in. They can pressure top 6 sides, they can run at sides. We've seen it at Anfield against Liverpool. Like I said, they can put pressure on, they can score goals, they can hit teams on the counter, they can make the most of their opportunities. So now let's see it against Burnley on a Wednesday night at Goodison Park. Let's see it against Newcastle away from home. Let's not give Leeds up as easily as we are. And that's why I'm excited to go into next season, because I've seen what we can do. We need to now make that a regular occurrence, and we need to make it a regular occurrence against the teams that are below us in the league, against the teams that aren't necessarily fantastic. Because there's no good doing it once every blue moon against the top sides, and then you come and you face a smaller side and you just absolutely bottle it from a decent winning position. And that's why I'm really, really excited for the summer. And like I said, listen, for me, I think we'll bring some really, really good players in the summer. I really, really do. I've got a feeling that Marcel Brands already knows who he wants to come in, and I've got an even bigger feeling that those players aren't going to be players that we expect. We're probably not going to be looking at a Timo Werner coming in the summer, because he's probably going to go to Bayern Munich. We might be looking at a Wan-Bissaka, because he might be eyed up by Chelsea, Arsenal. But the players that we bring in, we've got to have faith in Marcel Brands that they're good enough to come in and improve our squad. Because when you look at it on the face of it, we signed 6 players in the summer. Yerry Mina has come in. Is he an improvement on Phil Jagielka? Of course he is. As is Kurt Zouma. Andre Gomes has come in. Is he an improvement on Morgan Schneiderlin? Of course he is. Bernard has come in. Is he an improvement on Balassi or Kevin Morales? Of course he is. Richarlison's come in. Is he an improvement on either of them players or Theo Walcott? Of course he is. Who else have we brought in? Luca Dean has come in. Is he an improvement on Leighton Baines? He is a prime Leighton Baines in his day. So the players that we brought in last summer have been head and shoulders better than, for me, a lot of the players in the squad. I think Gylfi Sigurdsson and maybe, you know, Idrissa Gana Gueye are probably the only 2 players that have stood up, and in the last couple of weeks Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well, and have been as good as those players that have come in. So that's why I'm really, really excited to see what we do in the summer, because if we can have another summer where we bring another 5 or 6 players in that are better than what we've got, and we can keep doing that, that's how you build as a football team. That's what the other knobhead across the road has done with them. He's looked at his squad when he first had them. He's finished 8th in the first season, and he's gone, okay, we desperately need a forward. There, bang, Mane. Okay, we probably need a little bit more. Bang, Salah. What have we needed in the last couple of years? We've needed a centre-half desperately. Bang, Van Dijk. We've needed the goalkeeper massively. Bang, Alisson. And now they're fighting for the, you know, the league. And I hate to use them as an example, because I absolutely hate them. And I'm not saying, oh, let's aspire to be like Liverpool. But at the end of the day, they're challenging for the league and in the Champions League semi-final, quarter-final, whatever they're in. You do really want to be like them, really, don't you? You want to be in those type of positions, as hard as it is to say, because it's them. You want to be in those type of positions, so that's what we need to do. There's no good in going out in the summer and just going, bang, 9 players. We might only bring 3 players in the summer. Marcel Brands might turn a striker, he might turn a right-back, and he might turn a centre-half, and that's it. And they might be, you know, massive improvements on what we've got already. And then we might be at the end of next season and go, okay, we really need a right winger now, because Theo Walcott is coming to the end of his career. And then you build on that, and you slowly, gradually build, because that's the mistake we made with Ronald Koeman and Steve Walsh, is we just brought a load of players in, and we bought about 75 number 10s and just went, that'll work, and it never worked. it really never worked, and I hope that we don't make that mistake again, and I really don't think we will, because I do think Marcel Brands has got his head screwed on. Let me just go into the live comments now. David says, now we're at 40 points and Silva and Brands have been to under 23s and under 18s games. Maybe there could be a couple introduced into the first team for the last run of games. Maybe. Looking at the likes of Ellis Sims, who's an absolutely fantastic player. Morgan Feeney, of course. Who knows? Maybe Marco Silva will give these lads a go. Samuel also says some big rumours going around. Of course there is. There always is at this time of year, Sam. EFC 1878 says players we should try and shine: Freddie Woodman, Thomas Mounier, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Diego Llorente, Ibrahim Sangare and Imai Buendia. That would bolster our squad with competition. Yeah, some really good players in there, absolutely. I don't know whether we'd necessarily sign that amount of players in the summer, but 100% the players you've named there would definitely add competition to the squad. Matthew says, the funny thing is, I don't actually think we are as far away as people think we are. It's just the consistency is killing us. Beat Chelsea, draw with the red shite, and then go and get beat by Newcastle. Exactly, and if you look at us this season, if you look at Everton this season, and especially in the last couple of weeks, you know, since we've come back from that 17-day break, you know, we had a massive break when everybody else played. We've played Liverpool, we've played Chelsea, and we've played Newcastle. Liverpool and Chelsea at home and Newcastle away. We've kept 2 clean sheets out of those games. Oh, and Cardiff as well, sorry. We've played Cardiff away. 4 games there: Newcastle, Cardiff, Liverpool, Chelsea. We've kept 3 clean sheets. We've won 2 of those games, and we've through to Liverpool in the Merseyside derby. We battered Chelsea in the second half, and we quite easily steamed past Cardiff as well. And we could have easily kept a clean sheet in the Newcastle game as well if some of us had had our heads screwed on. That would have been 4 wins after a 17-day break, and then going into an international break, and that would have clearly shown that during those 17 days, Marco Silva has worked on, you know, zonal marking with the players. He's worked on positioning. He's worked on what we need to improve on, because we've come out of there, we've played 2 top 6 sides and 2, you know, sides that are around the middle / bottom of the table, and we've won all 4 games, but we haven't. We've won 2 of them. We've got a draw in the derby, which I don't think many people could complain at, and we've ended up being beaten by Newcastle in a game that we really should have won. And I agree, and I've been saying it for a while now, the consistency for me is the thing that's killed us this season. We haven't had a consistent captain. We haven't had a consistent starting 11. We haven't had a consistent back 4. We haven't had a consistent front 3. And that's what's constantly killing us. You know, the fact that it changes week in, week out. How can players physically prepare for the game on the weekend if they're constantly changing? And that's what we need to bottom down. And that's why, for me, it's really important that we sign those players in the summer that we are missing, so that Marco Silva can start next season and he can go, okay, I know now who's my captain, I know what my starting 11 is, and it's going to stay like that every single week unless somebody is injured or somebody cannot play, and that's how it's going to be. I know what my back 4 is, and that's how it's going to stay, unless of a suspension or an injury. No, we're going to keep chopping and changing it week in, week out, because that does not work at all. Samuel says, I understand the Coleman situation, but he is a leader and a player of his time. Yeah, exactly, but at the end of the day, listen, Seamus at the minute, I absolutely love Seamus Coleman. I'm a massive fan of Seamus Coleman, always has been. But I just question whether he's up to scratch and whether he's quite good enough to play week in, week out for Everton, especially if we're looking to, you know, break into that top 6 or maybe even the top 4. Samuel says, I love the idea of a second choice goalkeeper, Freddie Woodman. Yeah, exactly. A second choice goalkeeper. Many people saying that we need somebody to give Jordan Pickford the kick up the arse, need somebody that he knows he's going to have to fight for, because at the minute, you know, we've said it before, the distance between Martin Stecklenburg and Jordan Pickford is like the distance between my house and Albania. It's absolutely miles apart. There's absolutely no chance that Martin Stecklenburg is anywhere near good enough to be playing in a Premier League side like Everton, playing in a Premier League side that wants to be challenging for the top 6 and wants to be challenging for the top 4. Jordan Pickford, I think, is quite comfortable in his position, and I think he knows that. So it would be good to bring in a secondary goalkeeper. It would be good to bring in a goalkeeper that can, you know, give him a boot up the arse, can say, well, if you're not playing well, I'm going to step in and I'm equally as good and fight for that competition. Do I think it's on the top of Marco Silva and Marcel Brands' list? Probably not. I think it's probably at the bottom of the list, but it would be good to bring in, and, you know, who knows, maybe even João Virginia could be that goalkeeper. Who knows? David says the team will be a year further in, we'll all get a pre-season and with better understanding of how each other plays. Exactly, players that really need a pre-season, the likes of Bernard, will get a full pre-season. Now Andre Gomez, if he signs on a permanent, will get a full pre-season, and that'll massively help. Matt says, big fan of Brands' transfer policy so far. Like, exactly, and you can't fault the fact that he's saying, I'm not going to bring players in until we can ship the dead wood, because otherwise you end up, you know, having a shitload of players in your squad where 9 or 10 of them aren't nowhere near good enough and you're paying them upwards of 70 grand a week. So I understand brands saying, no, we're getting rid of those and then we can bring in players to directly replace them that are much better than them and that can break into this side. And, you know, the problem with that is getting rid of them players. Then if we can start the summer off and we can get rid of some of them players, then and then bring players in that are a lot better, then we should be flying. Where are we? AFC 1878 as a leader at the back would desperately help us as well as a top striker. Obviously, yeah, a leader for me, just a pure natural leader. I don't think we've got one in the squad. I really don't. I mean, I absolutely love Seamus Coleman, but I just don't think he does enough on the pitch to lead everybody else, I must admit. David says, let's not forget Onyekuru who's coming in, whether he goes up top or on the right. It could be interesting. Exactly, we need to focus our attention on him as well. If he gets a work permit, you know, fantastic young player playing in the Champions League this season, playing in the Turkish League with Galatasaray, scoring goals in the Champions League, a really good talent. But like I said, the issue with him is if we can get a work permit for him, and if not, maybe we'd look to sell him because he's been here 3 years now and not played one game in a blue shirt. And Matthew says, how much money do you think it would take for us to break into the top 6, top 4 camp? I don't know at the minute. I really don't know. You know, transfer budgets and transfer and money in this day and age, it's a tough one to say. I think we definitely need a striker. I think we definitely need a creative midfielder, a David Silva-esque player that can, you know, be that number 10, if you like. I don't think Gylfi Sigurdsson's a number 10, I really don't. I think Gylfi Sigurdsson is a central midfielder that's just being blessed with, you know, a little bit of, not a little bit, I'm not going to disrespect him, a lot of quality on the ball and can hit a ball and can, you know, put a decent cross in, but I don't think he's a natural number 10. I think we need a natural number 10 and that would massively help us if we're trying to break into the top 6, top 4. We need a right back, we need a right winger, probably. So, I don't know, you could say 250 million or it could be 100 million in Brands' books. It really depends, you know, what business we do in the summer, I suppose. And AFC 1878 says, I know I sound like a broken record about the derby, but do you think if that game wasn't so important for the fans, then the backlash wouldn't have been as bad? Yeah, I do. I think, listen, I come out of the Merseyside derby in Anfield and I said, okay, let's not let it get to us. Let's go again. We played really well and we were massively unlucky in the end. And then about 5 or 6 games after that, when we started to perform badly, I said, listen, we can't use this as an excuse. I'm not having this as an excuse, you know. We have to let it get over our heads and we have to go again. But looking back on it now, it massively affected the players. And if we'd have got a draw out of that game this season, could have gone, you know, very different. It really could have gone, you know, massively differently. We could have been comfortably 7th now, fighting for the top 6. We would have shown that we could go to Anfield and put in a really good performance against the top side who were at the time unbeaten. But it didn't go like that. It didn't. What happened, and I suppose the key thing is that when that happens, if that happens again in the future, it's getting over that rather than, you know, just letting it absolutely destroy your season. Because for me, looking back on it, it was the turning point in our season that made everything go that way, when it was all looking, you know, quite upwards. We were in a really good run of form. Players were playing fantastically well. It was a massive confidence killer, and, you know, looking back on it, you know, you have to say it was. So I think, listen, if it wasn't a Merseyside derby and it had just been a normal game, yes, it would have, you know, I think undoubtedly been easier to get over, and yes, players could have put it behind them and gone, you know what, whatever. The fact it was a Merseyside derby and it ended how it did, and the feel around the city and how lucky they got, and, you know, the way the goal went in as well with the mistake from Jordan Pickford, it did have a massive impact on us. But I suppose the lesson to be learned there is that not necessarily, well, obviously don't let it happen again, but not necessarily it'll never happen again. More so, if it does happen again, be prepared to be able to deal with it and, you know, get over it as quickly as possible. David says 5 international appearances is normally enough to get a work permit. Yes, 7 I believe. Yeah, it is. So hopefully there shouldn't be too much trouble. But yeah, like I said, we still don't know exactly what's going on with him. Matthew says we should have definitely went in for Adam Ramsey when Arsenal said they didn't want him. He would have cost nothing. Exactly. Really good footballer. Obviously now going to Juventus in the summer, going to be smashing it with Cristiano Ronaldo. But yeah, whether he'd have come to Everton or not, I don't know. But like I said, Marcel Brands, has said when he first come into Everton Football Club, I don't care about how good players are. I don't care where they've played before, what they've won. If we want them and we think they'll suit our play, then I'm going to ask the question. And if they say no, so be it. So maybe that would have been a decent one to first go at and ask Adam Ramsey if he fancied staying in the Premier League. But that one's done now. David says also next season VAR comes in, could have added 12 to 15 points for us this season. Exactly. And that's another massive thing that's going to come into the Premier League next season, and something that will undoubtedly, for me, gain Everton points, because you're absolutely right, we've lost points this season looking at Arsenal, they had a goal which is miles offside. Manchester United were given a penalty which was never a penalty. Newcastle's third goal the other day, 3, 4, 5 players offside. Millwall, players offside everywhere. Exactly, we could have been in a comfortably 7th and in an FA Cup semi-final now, but like I said, in the Millwall game, defensively we were shocking. In the Newcastle game, defensively we were shocking. So you'd have to take it on both chins, I suppose. And Matt says, promising times ahead, 100%, Matt, 100%. You know, we have got promising times, and it's important that we only look forward now, because there's no point looking backwards, because, you know, what can we change? We can't change anything. So let's look forward and let's go, you know what? Let's be excited. Let's be excited for the summer transfer window. Let's see what business Marcel Brands and Marco Silva do. Let's see who we bring in. Let's see who we can, you know, ship out as well, and for what price. And let's just look forward to the first game of next season, seeing how we line up, and hopefully being good enough to break into, or at least challenge to break into that top 6. But anyway, that is going to do it for today's team. I was going to talk about the Europa League in 7th position, but I'll tell you what, I'll do it on Wednesday's stream. Gives me a topic to talk about. Obviously, Everton don't play now until Saturday. We play Newcastle, so the full game preview to that game will be on Friday at 6:15. But on Wednesday, we're going to talk about the Europa League. We're going to talk about what it means to Everton and what 7th place could mean to Everton Football Club. We're going to talk about whether we all want it, or whether we all might turn around and say, starting playing in July, squad isn't necessarily good enough. Who knows? Really, it's all about opinions, really, isn't it? But it'll be really interesting to sit down on Wednesday and talk about that one. If you have enjoyed today's stream, please do leave a like. It really does help me out a lot. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. Once again, I really do apologise for there being no stream on Friday. The internet went down, and I couldn't get it back up and running. It wouldn't work for the life of me. But we've sorted it today. Hopefully, it carries on in this vein and there's no more interruptions or issues. A massive thank you to everybody in the live comments, as per usual, for watching. If you're watching it as a YouTube video, leave all your thoughts in the comments section down below about everything we've spoke about. What do you think about the summer transfer window? Do you think that this transfer window is as important as I think it is? And is the jury still out for you on Marcel Brands? And do you think that this is really the time for him to make his money, and we have to see what we look like at the start of next season? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching it as a YouTube video. Massive thank you to everybody in the live comments, as per usual. Matthew says, and took 12 to 15 points off Liverpool, David. Yeah, well, that's why it's not in, isn't it? David says, haha, love it, but we can hope. Yeah, David says, do Brexit on Wednesday. You know what, David? I don't know enough. I really don't know enough about it. Politics is just a bollocks. Politics off. I can't stand it. I think they're all dickheads, if I'm being honest with you. David says, we could be out anyway. Yeah. And Matthew says, cheers, Cam, enjoyed that tonight, lad. Thank you very much, Matthew, and thank you to everybody in the live comments, as per usual. Like I said, if you have enjoyed the stream, please do leave a like. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll be back on Wednesday, of course, at 6:15 for another live stream, speaking about the Europa League and speaking about what that could mean to Everton Football Club for next season. And then Friday, of course, with the full game preview to the Newcastle game. I'm doing the Everton in the Community zip slide, sorry, at Goodison Park. My man went blank then. I'm doing the Goodison Park zip slide for Everton in the Community on Saturday as well, so I'll be filming that. I'll be making sure that, you know, you all get to see me zip slide from Goodison Park, all in association with Everton in the Community, and raising funds for the People's Place as well. I've left the Just Giving page in the top line of the description, so if you've got absolutely any spare pennies whatsoever, I would really appreciate if you could go over and donate absolutely anything that you can. It really does mean a lot to me, and obviously it's going towards an absolutely fantastic cause as well. But anyway, that is going to do it from me. A massive thank you for watching. Please leave a like if you have enjoyed, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Don't forget to join me on Wednesday at 6:15 to talk about more Everton, and then we're back on Saturday. Let's hope that we're back with a bang against West Ham United. Let's hope we can get the 3 points and carry on, you know, a run of form that started with a really good 2-0 win against Chelsea, and then hopefully bring Arsenal back to Goodison Park and do them as well. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's team. Massive thank you to everybody for watching. If you're watching live, a massive thank you to you, of course, and thanks for watching if you're watching it as a YouTube video as well. I'll be back on Wednesday, of course, at 6:15, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.